Hello friends, this is your third lecture of Elective Hot 355. In previous lecture, we were learn about advantages and disadvantages of greenhouse and importance of greenhouse. So, in today's lecture, we are learn about classification of greenhouse. That means types of greenhouse. Then we are discuss about classification of greenhouse. Greenhouse structures are of various types and they are used successfully for crop productions. There are specific advantages of each type of structures according to its particular region and its purpose of use. Generally, there is no any single structures which are considered as a best. There are different types of greenhouse structures and these are designed to meet specific needs and requirements. So, they are classified in different ways. The classification of greenhouse based on shape. Then second, based on utility. Third, based on construction. Fourth, based on covering material. And last, based on cost. These are the 5 major types of greenhouse. Then next, we have discussed about classification of greenhouse according to its shape and styles. The styles of greenhouse are very widely. So, how they are built and what they are built. And results of this polyhouse, some factors are affecting, such as budget of polyhouse. Second, material requirements and availability of materials. Area of the region. Next, crops to be grown under the polyhouse and long-term use of polyhouse. Classification of greenhouse according to its shape or style, they are again divided into different types. First, lean-to type. Second, even span type of polyhouse. Third, uneven span type of polyhouse. Next, ridges and furrow type of polyhouse. Then, sawtooth type, and last, quinset type of greenhouse. Then first, we will discuss about lean-to type greenhouse. The lean-to type greenhouse is placed against the side of an existing building. That means it is attached to a home or a building and help to allowing for easier access to utilities including electricity and water supply. The design makes the best use of sunlight and minimize the requirement of roof supports. In these structures, roof of the building is extended with appropriate greenhouse covering material and area is properly enclosed. This type of structure is typically facing toward the south side. The advantage of this type of structure is that the structure is useful where space is limited. This structure is least expensive as compared to other structures. And design makes the best use of sunlight and minimize the requirement of roof supports. These structures having some disadvantages, that is limited space inside the polyhouse. Second, limited light. Third, limited ventilation. And last, limited temperature control. The temperature control is more difficult in this type of greenhouse because the wall of the greenhouse may collect the sun heat and translucent cover of the greenhouse may lose heat rapidly inside the polyhouse and increases the heat inside the structures. We will discuss about even span type of greenhouse. The even span type of greenhouse is called as standard type and full size structures. In this type of greenhouse, the two roof slopes are of equal pitch and equal width. The design is used for the greenhouse of small size, and it is constructed on a level ground. The cost of this even span type of greenhouse is more than the cost of lean-to type greenhouse. But these structures having greater flexibility in the designs. This type of greenhouse has better shape than the lean-to type greenhouse for air circulation and to maintain uniform temperature during winter and summer season. There are several single and multiple span types are available, and these are generally used in various regions of the India. For example, in single span type, span is generally varies from 5 to 9 meter, whereas the length is around 24 meter and height is varies from 2.5 to 4.3 meter. Then next we have discussed about uneven span type of greenhouse. Generally, this type of greenhouse is constructed on hilly region. In this type, the roofs are unequal width. That means one roof is wider than other roof. And generally, this structure is adaptable to the side slopes of hilly region. And nowadays, it is commercially used in hilly region and undulated lands. And the structures are not applicable or adaptable for automation. Then next type is ridges and furrow type of greenhouse. The designs of this type of greenhouse use two or more frames of greenhouses are connected to one another along the length of the eaves. And in these structures, eave serves as a gutter and furrow to carry rain and melted snow. In the design, the side wall is eliminated between the greenhouses, and due to elimination of side wall between the greenhouses, which will result to increase the interior space inside the polyhouse, and due to consolidation of this interior space, it helps to reduce labor requirements. Also, it helps to lower the cost of automation. It helps improve personal management and reduces fuel consumptions. There are some disadvantages of this type of structures. The main disadvantage of this type of structure is water drainage is poor and gutter could prohibit sunlight. Due to heavy load of snow, generally ridges and furrow type of greenhouses are effectively used in northern countries, for example Europe and Canada, and as well as the structures are used in North Indian conditions. Then next type is sawtooth type of greenhouse. The sawtooth type of greenhouse are similar to ridges and furrow type of greenhouses, except that there is a provision for natural ventilation in this type of greenhouse, so that sawtooth type of greenhouses are generally used in tropical and subtropical areas. If we think about design of such type of greenhouse having roof ventilation as a single most important features as compared to other type of greenhouses. If we think about the growth and health of your plants are directly influenced on ventilation and good environmental factor. According to controlled environmental factors, this type of structures having some benefits. First one is this structure is cost effective design. Second, these structures help to protect your seedlings or plants from heavy rains, winds and storm. Then next, the roof vent provide superior air transfer and hot air venting. And in winter season, if you close all the vents. The such type of structure it helps to protect the plants or seedling from a cold bite and help to increase the temperature inside the polyhouse. Then last type is quinset type of greenhouse. A quinset type of greenhouse is a dome shape. This is the greenhouses where the pipe arches or trusses are supported by pipe purlins running along the length of the greenhouses. Generally, in this type of greenhouses, the covering materials are used as a polyethylene. And such type of greenhouses are typically less expensive than gutter connected polyhouses or greenhouses. According to designs and constructions, there are two types of greenhouses. First one, freestanding type, quonset type of greenhouse. And second, interlocking ridges and furrow, quinset type of greenhouses. If we think about the second type, interlocking ridge and furrow type of quinset type of greenhouses, in this type, truss members are overlapped to each other and plant beds are allowed to grow in between the overlapping portions. It helps to utilize the maximum area under the polyhouses and increasing number of plant population and getting maximum yield inside the polyhouses. Then next type of classification of greenhouse is greenhouse type based on utility. Here utility means functioning of greenhouse or working principle of greenhouse. There are various functions and utilities in the greenhouse, but artificial cooling and artificial heating in greenhouse are very expensive. According to functioning of greenhouse, they are classified into two main types. That is first greenhouse for active heating and greenhouse for active cooling. Then first we have discussed with greenhouse for active heating. During night time and winter season, the air temperature inside the polyhouse is decreases. And to accelerate the growth of the plant, there is need to maintain optimum temperature inside the polyhouse. And to avoid the plants from cold bite due to freezing temperature, there is need to supply some amount of heat inside the polyhouse. The requirement of heating in the greenhouse depends on the rate at which heat is lost to outside the environment or outside the greenhouse. Generally, in greenhouse, heat is lost in three ways. First, the warm air moves outside the greenhouse and the place is replaced by cooler air. Second, heat is transferred through covering material itself and sometimes heat is lost through soil or floor of the greenhouse. So to increase the optimum temperature and sustaining the growth of the plant, there is need to reduce the heat losses from greenhouse. And to reduce the heat losses, there are various methods are adopted. For example, by using of double layer of polyethylene covering material. And also possible, we can reduce the heat losses by using of thermopan glass house. And in advanced type of greenhouse, there is a possible we can increase the temperature inside the polyhouse by using of some heating system. For example, by using of some unit heaters or central heat system or solar heat system. Then second type of greenhouse is greenhouse for active cooling. In summer season, it is desirable to reduce the temperature inside the greenhouse and maintain optimum temperature for effective growth of the crops. To reduce the temperature inside the polyhouse, there is need. The polyhouse should have some cooling facilities like fan and pad system or fogging system inside the polyhouse. With the help of fan and pad system, there is a possible we can reduce the temperature inside the polyhouse near about 8 to 10 degrees Celsius as compared to open conditions. Otherwise, the greenhouse are designed in such a way that it permits a roof opening near about 40%, and in some cases nearly it should have 100%. Due to the opening of roof or vent, the hot air exhausts outside the polyhouse and it helps to lower down the temperature inside the polyhouse. So today we have stopped here. The remaining part of this classification we will continue on next lecture. Thank you for your attention.